Well, thanks for joining us on Open Line. I'm Chuck Long here with Kevin Kennedy. We're answering your questions, those legal questions that you've been wondering about, you've been thinking about. If you do have them, we don't have a lot of time left in the show. Please get on the line with us, 737-7587, and we go back to the lines right now. Keith, we're glad you're joining us here on Open Line. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin? Can you hear us, Keith? Keith, are you hearing us? Okay, we'll have it. Keith, if you can hear us or if you can't call back, we're going to go back to the lines right now, though. Ronnie is on the line with us. Ronnie, good evening. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Well, Kevin, I love listening to you. You put out good information, but my question is, I got a deal going on with a guy that bought the property next to me.
Yep.
And he wants the right-of-way to go across me to get to his property.
Come on.
Okay. And I told him I make a deal with him if he square the property up between me and my neighbor and all, and make it all legal and everything, I'll give him the right-of-way to go across me to get to his property to build houses.
Yep.
Well, he doesn't put an easement on it that he can go across, but yet nothing else has been done.
Yes.
I then went and talked to the property people up here at the courthouse. They said they can do a quick deed claim and everything up here, but yet nothing's still not being done. And it's been going on for a long time. Is there anything else I can do? Do I still have to give them the easement to go across me with no papers being done?
Okay, here we go. A lot of gray areas on easement. One of the first principles we can all stand on, you can't landlock a person's property. But if there is a way in that property other than that, you could always maintain they need to take that easement into the property. So if I had that situation, and one of the things I've learned about owning farms and houses and properties, there's always a potential problem. I like to have my property surveyed when I buy them so that there's no misunderstanding. On my farms, I like to put fences up. So what you've got now is you've got a neighbor and we've got a gray area. There's all kinds of easement issues. If it's not in the deed, then you're opened up for a lot of interpretation. So once I saw that issue, I would go to a real estate lawyer, say this is what I'm confronted with, and then let him go ahead and deal from there and write it. Or we want to determine if there are other ways out. If you wanted to sell part, you know, you can sell. That's your property. You can sell an easement. And if you didn't want to do that, you can stop that too. So if there's property that he's willing to give you for that, then you can negotiate it and get it done, be a good neighbor, and go right on. But that is a situation you really need to look at. Guess what, too? Is it a 12-foot easement or is it a 50-feet easement? You need to talk about building codes, because you say, yeah, I gave him the easement. Well, guess what? 12 feet is not enough to build houses back there. So you need to check your zoning, all of it. That's something that needs to be moved on. Get a lawyer. It's worth it. It'll help you in the long run.
There's so many variables you have to consider there. Yeah.
You get a skilled lawyer, and he said, no, wait a minute, you can't land block me. That's already grandfathered in. And guess what? We've been using 24 feet. Well, a lot of variables. Do you believe it? Mm-hmm. Those lawyers will push you to the edge.
Absolutely. All right, Ronnie, thank you so much. Great question, and a lot of people were helped by that one. All right, I think Keith is back on with us. Keith, can you hear us? And do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Yes. I'm on SSI, and I'm not supposed to have over $2,000 in my at any given time without reporting it. My father died a couple of years ago. He had a life insurance for $40,000, 10 for each child, and I got a friend to cash that check for him. But now the property is sold, the house is sold, and it's going through probate. But now the closing company is wanting my information, my Social Security number, and it's got me worried. Will an option be that I forfeit my money to my siblings and
Okay.
then them
Here's
give me
where-
that money back?
Okay, here's where you're dancing. You need to talk to a lawyer privately. You have done an excellent job in identifying the issue. You know, everybody now wants to wire transfer money into your account. Well, there's the record. They're keeping up with it. And the purpose of this is against public fraud. They say, well, we're going to give you this money, but you can't have this. You got to work within the provisions. Then you should really talk to a lawyer privately so you avoid any misinterpretation of what's going on. Now, you've identified it. You've talked about some issues. They need to be discussed privately. And I salute you for identifying, because so many people say, yeah, just wire it in here, here we go. You know, I was trying to buy an expensive car, and I talked to them, and they said, we won't take a check. I said, okay. We won't take cash. I said, good gracious, how can a man buy this car? Only through wire transfer. And I've transferred some really big personal injury settlements, multi-million-dollar person, and I don't leave that to the secretary of the bookkeeper. I go to the bank personally when we're making those kind of trades, and I look at every zero, and we check it many, many times, because when you push it and it's gone, it's gone. So I really like to be extra sensitive. I like the old-fashioned way, but you know, we're into a new day where so many people do wire trade, but you take your extra steps of precaution. Fraud is rampant. So if there's a way someone can steal your money, they're going to. And you're trying to protect yourself. And remember, when the money's there, the bank's going to say, are we going to just give that money right back to you? The bank will have a group of lawyers. I've sat in the conference room in one of the big ones in Nashville, like 20 lawyers around the conference table that representing the bank, representing the CPA, representing the lawyers. Everybody drew down, and nobody wanted to take responsibility.
Wow, a lot of things you have to consider.
Yes.
You really do. All right, thanks so much for the call, Keith. Again, a lot of great calls this evening. Kevin, we're down to just the last couple of minutes. Do you have words of wisdom for this evening?
Well,
what's on your mind?
I'm still thinking about the overall concept of education. Today I was in Clarksville, went in, and they had one of the courtrooms, the Austin Peay State University students. If you get an opportunity to go and see a trial, you should do it. If you get an opportunity for your children, your grandchildren to get to do that, then do it. I really do believe in education. And if the TikTok is one of those things that you can punch on and learn, you know what it does? It comes in your mind so powerful, so fast, so entertaining, that in the split second, when you need to have it, it'll come back. I really do believe that, and that's why it is really so popular. So teach. We've got the Thanksgiving dinner, Chuck. You're going out of
back to Texas.
You are.
Yep.
And we'll have our family around. You don't have them all the time. Talk about these issues. You'll be glad you did.
Well, and I think too, you even touch on something that is so important, is making sure it's important families get along. I mean, sometimes people say, you know, well, it doesn't really make any difference, but it does. It's the bottom.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than aggravating your sister-in-law and aggravating your nephews or your nieces. So a good understanding will keep down a misunderstanding. If somebody really, really wanted that, and there's more than enough for this particular house, then I think we could work that out where they could get that within reason, and say you could do this and we could do that. Let's take the proactive approach. And everybody kicks the can down the road. Have you heard that old saying?
Absolutely.
Well, when it's your family, there's time that we got to think about. And if it's a hot potato, we'll get away and we'll make a plan and we'll come back the next time.
That's exactly right. Absolutely. So, you know, and I also think it's important when we have Thanksgiving, it's a good time to just kind of reflect and just think about how important family is to you.
Yes,
It really means a lot. It really does.
I want to try to teach my kids, when we get them all around, that you really can't outgive God. And I want them to understand that and to be givers and to help others their whole life. And I'll say this, you can't help somebody without helping yourself.
There you go. Absolutely. Kevin, I want to make sure that people know how they can contact you if they do need to. So I want to just make sure that we have that number in case you need to call the Kennedy Law Firm. It's right there on your screen, 931-645-9900. 931-645-9900. That is the Kennedy Law Firm, an amazing law firm in business over 35 years. A lot of knowledge. As Kevin has often said, knowledge is power, and that power puts you at the forefront. And we want to make sure that you contact them. And we have said it so many times, but working with a lawyer is the way to go if you want to get the results that you need.
Absolutely. It's self-protection, self-defense.
It absolutely
If I
is.
do it for my family, I'd recommend doing it for yours.
Absolutely. So stay tuned. Southern Woods and Waters is
Yes,
coming up
exciting.
next. We see the guys over on the set getting ready right
Here
now.
they go.
All right. Take care. We've enjoyed being with you on Open Line. We'll see you next time.
God bless you.